We have Mr. Jay Wasley back in studio. Jay, thank you so much for coming back on, especially with the week we just had here on the show.
Right, yeah. I heard you got some paranormal action.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you haven't heard by now, which it's all we've been talking about, we did our first ever paranormal investigation over at the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs, which you guys have been to. I went from being a skeptic about ghosts to I'm fully convinced now.
Yeah, that's what it takes sometimes.
So, yeah,
I tell everybody, like, I get being a skeptic. I still approach things skeptically, but like until you do it yourself and you have those experiences, like that's the best way to, hands down know there's something else.
Yeah, it was. I almost the way I related it the day or the morning after when I woke up. Travis was like bummed because the drive home I was quiet.
Right.
He thought I was going to be all excited, and I was like, no, I was like processing. Like I was like, what did I just?
Yeah, it's draining too.
Yeah.
Like we actually call it, after an intense investigation, we call it a lockdown hangover.
I had that. And it was nowhere near as long as your guys's. I think we were there for 5 or 6 hours total. But it was just very, I get it though, because you are the camera crew, you are the production crew, you are the investigators.
Yeah, but it's not even a physical, it's a mental drain. I think it is just like opening yourself up so much and trying to make contact. And when you do make contact, I do feel, and I think that's one of the things our show specifically like does well, and like the four of us combined, like something about our energies together can actually like help make contact, if that makes sense. And it's like using our energies as well to manifest or communicate something like that, and it's draining us.
Yeah, everybody else seemed fine, but like myself and the other guy who was on the investigation with us, and even the owner, we were kind of like, what did we just go through? Like the way it's a very grim way of relating it, but I related it to when my friend died a few years ago, who actually helped start this channel. It was like my body was trying to accept the information while also rejecting the information at the same time.
Yeah, because I think it's natural for our minds to want to make order of everything and wants to make sense of our world, our reality. All these frequency waves shooting around, we put it in order. We see what we see. So it makes sense when you experience something paranormal, like it's just a natural, like it just fries your brain almost.
Yeah. We do have a clip to run, but before we do that, I know you just got some, but I got you a gift as well. So I got you some cool
like
comic
Christmas.
books. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, wow.
So this is from us here at the Bizarre Junkie. See, there's some stickers. Play with those at your own risk.
Nice. Thor, some Guardians.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. I tried to get into comic book collecting. No problem. I'm very grateful to have you here and the insight you gave me before going into this hunt, because we had a sit down. And I just asked you point blank. I was like, you're the pro here. What am I doing? Like, how do I approach an investigation? I'd never done it before. I mean, I've seen your show. I'd seen Ghost Hunters. But like, it seems like everybody's been in it for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been watching for 20 years, but now I'm just getting into it. But so I guess, Lana, let's go ahead and roll this clip. So this is when we first started the investigation. This is like, lights had been off for 15, 20 minutes at this point. And we're sitting at the poker table.
Ready?
Are you in the office right now?
Whoa.
Did you hear that?
Whoa.
You heard the footsteps?
Whoa, yeah, from back there.
Everybody was in that room. Everybody was there.
Yeah.
We had just done a lights on tour. Nobody else was in there. And we were sitting, to kind of preface, this is kind of going to kind of spoil it, but at this point, the episode releases today as well. So
Nice.
this should be a reason to go watch it. We do the lights on tour. I go to sit at the poker table. I go to pull the chair, and it feels like something's holding the chair in.
Oh, nice.
So in the video, you see me kind of do this, and everyone's like, what are you doing? I'm like, and so I sit down, and I let Steven talk for a little bit. He's explaining, and then I go, not to cut you off, but I'm like feeling like an energy right now. And Steven, the owner, goes, yeah, no, I'm feeling that too right now.
Right.
And so when we started the investigation, we're like, okay, let's go back there. We sit down, we're like, I don't feel the same way at all. And then we started hearing movement in the back.
Yeah.
And then it kind of just led us on into the back. But I wanted to show you that because I wanted to share. Oh, did I start?
Yeah, you're talking about it.
Oh, no. So
Jumped up a lot there.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that's fun. So for anybody
Which is weird because that happens. Like, honestly, that happens all the time. Like,
Yeah.
even on locations where, like, we have things and we start talking about what we're experiencing in the moment, we will get extra readings and things start popping off and going happening. And it's like, it's almost like it's conscious and it's aware and it's like, oh, they can see us, they can hear us. Hey, we're over here. Like, and it starts even more trying to get your attention.
So anybody who's just listening, I kind of as a joke, but also as out of seriousness, I put an EMF detector next to Jay and myself just to see, and I kind of prove the point. If we start talking about these things, are we going to start seeing a little bit of a spike there? They've been sitting here the whole time. They've been on the first green. So it's not like there's next to an outlet or anything.
But the thing too, just to clarify with EMF detectors too, is that like right now, like even if it was like spiking for some reason, that can be normal if it stays.
Yeah,
because that means like it's a constant. There's a source. There's like a electrical line or something like. But when it's like off and on and it goes back and forth and it's blasting and then it goes nothing for a while, like that's unexplainable.
Yeah.
And then too, when you walk and it shows like something's transient, like you could be in the middle of a room and it's and then you're like, come over here, and then there's nothing, and all of a sudden it appears again, like capturing this movement of whatever this energy source is.
Yeah, we did that because I 100% wanted to go into this and be like, if I can debunk it, I will. And so there was times where Brian was super excited. He's like, yo, it's going off. I walk over there and I kind of hold to them like, oh no, there's a power line right here.
Right.
And I'm like, that would probably be a logical explanation for this in the moment. But there were times where in the back room, there's where they wash the dishes and it was popping off for us. And I'm like, is there any electrical here? What's this pipe? And he's like, no, that's plumbing. And I was like, okay, so there's really nothing going on. But
is it only electrical that will make it go off?
Well, it depends on the meter. There's different settings. There's like electrical magnetic. There's also geomagnetic. So like there is like a natural EMF that comes from the earth. Yeah, so like different sources and things like have stronger magnetic poles. So you can kind of like some meters have more settings. You can dial in more specifically.
Yeah, that's when you have money, Lana. We were operating on a budget here, but they worked fine. I mean, we used them in tandem. Like I told you before the show, we used the Ghost Tube app as a spirit box because spirit box, like I didn't know how expensive they were until I looked.
They've jumped up a lot.
Yeah, do you feel you have? You guys
might have ruined that
that economy,
or made the economy great for the sellers, I guess.
Yeah, but so we had it on the app and. By itself, it's creepy, but even when you open the app, it says, do not use this alone and count it as sole evidence.
Right.
So what we did is, and this will be on the video and in camera, we had our audio recorder, we had our Zoom recorder here, we had the voice meter here, or the spirit box here, and then we had the EMF. Nice. Every time we would get a response, the EMF would spike.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way to do it. Like to be able to justify it on multiple pieces of equipment that's the goal right there.
Yeah, so that... I'm forever changed from it. I'm actually kind of hooked. I thought I was going to shit myself.
Right. It becomes addictive, right?
Yeah, now I'm like, where do we go next? But now they're like let's go to Goldfield Hotel. I'm like, let's slow down a little bit. Let's kind of take it a couple, then we'll go there. Okay, let's not.
Yeah, Goldfield's, that place never,
that's where you guys
never
started.
Disappoints. Yeah. It's where they did the documentary, got the first brick flying evidence.
Yep.
It was actually my first episode I ever worked on.
That's when you got hired, was for that?
Yeah, back in 2010. They flew me out to Vegas. I got picked up. They're like, we're going out in the desert. And
you're like, what?
It was the Goldfield episode.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. But for at the very least now on this channel, we're going to do this once a year, at the very least.
Oh, yeah.
It might just be we go to the Pioneer and we'll bring like an influencer with us and try to get them to freak the fuck out. But it was tremendous. So before we get into kind of our segments, when I had met with you, you were telling me about like one of the first shows you worked on, not even ghost related, but it was so crazy that like I wanted to bring it up again.
Oh, yeah.
And there was that tow truck
Wreck Chasers.
Yeah, so if you don't mind going a little bit into that, about what that show was.
Yeah, so before Ghost Adventures, like one of the big TV shows I was working on was a show called Wreck Chasers, which was on Discovery. And the concept of this show was following around tow truck drivers. And we were in Philadelphia, and not the city of brotherly love part of Philadelphia. This was like the worst part of Philly. But good people. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we filmed along, made good friends. Like, they're good people, but like, they're in a rough area and they're all doing whatever they got to do to survive, not judging. And basically in Philly, in basically every city, there's what they call the tow rotation. So like if there's an accident, usually the police show up, they go to the list and they're like, all right, who's the next tow truck company? They call that company. They have 20 minutes to get there. They don't get there. They call the next company on the list. And then the next accident, they go to the next person. So it's basically a way to give every company in the city a fair chance to get work. Philadelphia didn't really enforce that. So what we would do, we would basically spend all day and all night with these tow truck companies, just kind of sitting around waiting, listening to the police scanners. and all of a sudden it would go off and be like, there's a wreck at, 23rd and Girard, and we would all hop in different vehicles and literally race to the scene of the accident. And basically in Philly, whoever got there first would get the job. So it created almost this gang war kind of experience and kind of atmosphere there. And sometimes you show up and there's an opposing tow truck company that gets there at the same time, and they're fighting and arguing. There was murders over this. There was like 2 companies got to one point at the same time. They got into a fight. The one guy shot the guy, killed him. In retaliation, they burned down their yard where they kept all their towed cars and stuff in their offices. So it just caused this, really intense environment. It was the only job that I ever actually had bulletproof vests, because sometimes we would listen to a police scanner and they'll be like, there's a wreck, but we don't know why there's a wreck or what's going. And we roll up and it's a stolen car, and now we're running up into a police shootout with some guy that stole a car. And, we're ducking and duck around a car and be like, oh, there's a dead guy, and then I'm going to go hide over here now. And, kind of running around just trying to stay safe, but also keep filming at the same time.
So when you were on Ghost Adventures, you're like, oh, this ain't shit. I've seen everything at this point.
Yeah, well, it was from there, actually, that, at that time I was doing that. And the production company that ran that show was also the production company that did all the logistics and stuff for Ghost Adventures. And at that exact time, thankfully, it just was synchronicity, where Ghost Adventures wanted to bring on a full-time sound guy. And they were like, wow, this Jay guy's, I guess, doing a great job on this tow truck show, which is super intense. Let's give him a shot and throw him out there. And it was right at the end of the tow truck show, it kind of stopped because there was too much violence going on. And some people we knew that we worked with actually got murdered by another tow truck company. And then we took some time off and we went to go film again. And we showed up to a wreck, and the police were like, "No, we're doing rotation. Get out of here." So they kind of stopped and started enforcing the rotation list rule. And from there, it was like, "Hey Jay, like we have this other gig. You can hop on and do sound for Ghost Adventures."
You don't have to wear a bulletproof vest,
right? Yeah. Just have to wear a spiritual vest.
Yeah, I don't even, because at least with the bulletproof vest, you can see where the threat's coming from.
Right.
With the spiritual vest, you're like, I have no clue what's looking at me right now.
Yeah, in some ways, like honestly, like I don't know, it was weird. I was never really afraid on that show, and I've done other like documentaries where, we're in terrible places, crime-ridden spots. Even, I've been on a little plane shooting a documentary, and we flew through I don't even know, some kind of like hurricane level storm and getting tossed around, terrifying moments. But there's just something, and I don't know, like I know you do a lot of camera stuff, so like there's like almost like a false wall when like you're looking on a monitor. It's like, I'm not really here, like I'm safe. And you're totally not safe at all. But mentally there's like a weird separation that, I don't know, somehow always helped me.
Yeah, for me, I've never had to film anything crazy. I mean, I would say this is the craziest thing I filmed, which is the ghost hunt. But I've had moments where like people have yelled at me.
Right.
For our boss, like he did the World Series of Poker, and I was there, and security was like, "We will arrest you." And I'm like, "Bro, okay, I'll leave." And I was there, like I was even like I didn't even turn my camera on yet. I turned on like my phone just to get a quick clip. But they're like, "Yeah, where's your media pass?" I was like, I don't have one. And they're like, "Yeah, you need to leave." And I was like, "Okay." And they're like go now. I was like just putting my phone in my pocket. And I was like, "Okay, can I tell my boss?" They're like, "No, we'll arrest you." And I was like, okay, all right. This was like 6 months ago too. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I remember we were shooting in Paris once, and I was filming, and we were just like in some kind of plaza, like just getting shots, I think, of Zach just walking around and stuff. We're just filming. It's in a public space, which you're allowed to film in public spaces. And there was some guy that was like at a booth, like just selling something. And he starts pointing at me, and he's like, I wasn't even filming him. He was like way off in the distance, out of focus. But I was like, what is that guy doing? So of course I like zoom in. I'm like, what is he doing? And he's just like pointing at me, and he's cursing at me. And I'm like, don't film me. So I'm like, all right. So I start zooming in more and walking closer. He pulls out a machete, and he's like going like this and like waving it at me. And I'm just like, I just kept getting closer and zooming in even more on him.
Jay's like, am I the problem? Like, why did the guy...
Right? What?
Yeah, you're like, what are you going to do, stab me? And then the headline says, man stabbed 17 times after asking, what are you going to do, stab me?
Right. I was like, what are you really going to do that? Come on.
All right, so our producer, Franny, so we do a live show every Wednesday night on YouTube where we have an influencer like yourself or somebody of interest in other podcast hosts, and we just watch creepy videos that are culminated, either sent in by the community or that we find. You've been on there plenty of times. Nice. We've had other people who have actually ended up becoming guests on the show because we've seen their stuff. But so our producer Franny's in charge of that, and so he brought in some questions with some personal experiences, and then we'll have some videos we kind of want to get your expert opinion on, because it's always interesting if you're going to be like, no, I know what that is. I've done that. So he asks, when it pertains to EVP recordings, why do you think that recording devices are able to pick up on audio that we cannot hear with our own naked ears? And he has a story. He says, I have an experience where I called a friend one afternoon on a landline, and the call was intercepted by what I can only describe as a plethora of entities all speaking to me at once, making demands and cursing at me with the screams of many people in the background. How often do situations like this happen? Is there I guess this is another question. So let's go back to the first one where he asks, when it pertains to EVP recordings, why do you think that recording devices are able to pick up on audio that we cannot hear with our own naked ears?
It's honestly, simply put, it's frequency ranges. So like even like these microphones, these are SM7Bs, like they have a certain frequency range that they can record in. But there's sound that exists on both ends of that range that this won't pick up. There's sub-frequencies, there's infrasound, there's super high-pitched things like a dog whistle, for example. Like we can't hear a dog whistle, but dogs can hear it. So that exists. We know that sound exists. So it's the same thing with EVPs. Like different recorders have different frequency ranges, and usually they're a little bit outside of our normal hearing range. So that's why like a lot of the times, and we've been starting to map them more and kind of keep track of where they lie in frequency ranges. And it is finding that it's on those edges usually, where like it's just outside or just within our hearing range, and like you don't necessarily notice it in, you know, the actual like live environment, but the recorder can still pick it up. So that's kind of my, I guess, the scientific basic explanation. Also, I feel there, you know, theoretically, there's a way where like, especially like using like magnetic tape and like, you know, cassette recorders or like basically non-digital recorders too, and maybe even digital. Like there's, you know, the theory that like spirits are energy and that they can actually manipulate electrical objects. So even though we don't hear it, maybe it was never projected, if that makes sense. It was never projected loud into the atmosphere, into the environment, but somehow they're able to get that message directly into that electronic device.
Did you capture all that, Lana?
I sure did.
I think you probably went over it, but so kind of piggybacking off of that.
Sound frequencies, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So to piggyback off of that, I've you know, especially after this week, I'm like, I want to do this more. Let me do research on like, I'm using a Zoom H6. It's kind of overkill, like in the terms of like, I got to kind of two-hand it.
Right.
It gets tremendous audio, but I saw that there's like, and you've probably seen this, like the Panasonic recorder from the 90s that everybody has. Yep. I saw a video of a guy being like, this is awful because what it does is it just starts making noise.
I think we've used those ones. There's something about the older ones too. And I've never noticed noise because we've done stuff where like it's sitting flat. It's a totally control environment and we still get amazing EVPs. And we always try, and like one thing I think I even mentioned to you before about like marking EVPs.
Yeah, that's
like where if you are shuffling, if you're moving around, like if you feel the recorder slip, just be like, oh, I'm moving, like just kind of.
And we did that,
tagging it as you go, so you know that those sounds that you hear, you know, are accounted for basically. So with stuff like that, but there's something about the older one. I don't know if like newer ones with the digital technology, there's more filters, there's more processing, and I think it is part of what I was saying with the frequency range. Newer recorders, like everyone wants to go crisp and clean and the highest quality, highest resolution, things like that. And I think we lose a little bit on that high end and bottom end of the range. And I think that's why some of those older recorders, they're just a wider range that still be able to pick up stuff.
Okay, yeah, because the video I saw was the guy was like it's creating. He was like, I'm in a room that I've never had activity before in my life. He sets it down and it starts making like almost like little hums, like, and you can see the wavelength. He was like,
it sounds like you might have a messed up recorder. maybe,
but also I noticed that with that one, everything sounds so blown out.
Right.
Which I'm like, I don't want blown. I guess if that's what it takes, maybe that's what it takes. I told you beforehand. Just before this, I was trying to clean up our EVPs because there's a lot of humming and whizzing from.
Well, see, there's a thing like, do you know what the actual hum on microphones and recordings are from? Like, that's actually the universe's vibrational sounds.
Right. Well, I mean, so in this case, this was like I heard the noise when we were there. It's the refrigerators and the.
Right. Of course, they're going to have noises, but there is like basically, even if it's totally silent and you turn this microphone way up, it's going to get to a point where it's like a shh, and that's the same frequency that basically the universe is vibrating at.
Right.
And it's basically frequency background noise. And like there's a whole thing with that. Like so if you are boosting levels, like you can actually pick up things in that range as well.
I'm gonna have to pick your brain after this because it's gonna get real nerdy. I'm gonna be like, what? How do I? Because like Premiere doesn't have everything I need to clean it up. But okay, so moving on to this next story, he says, I have an experience where I called a friend one time on a landline, and the call was intercepted by what I can only describe as a plethora of entities all speaking to me at once, making demands and cursing at me with the screams of many people in the background. How often do situations like this happen, and is there another explanation for this instead of it being, I talk to the dead? I'm trying to find answers for my paranormal experience where I saw a full-fledged entity in my house after being in contact with an active Ouija board.
Yeah. I mean, landline's tough because I know back in the day, like, there's the theory of lines getting crossed, like, way back when it was, like, switchboard operators and they had to connect you and, you know, it's all hardwired. And then it basically all goes to a box and then there's literally people being like, this person's calling this, like a patch bay and doing all that. So, like, there's the idea that there could be crossover and you're hearing other people's conversations, things like that. But today's landlines, like, are very rare, but they're also all digital based too. So there's not that switching and operating. So something like that, I would say, is definitely unexplainable. It depends, like, if you can hear them and they're like, I don't know, even if you did hear what they're talking about and it makes sense, like, it could still be something paranormal. But it is, like, there's still lines. So, like, the idea that spirits and ghosts and all that are electrical energy still, that they can transfer through cables and they can transfer through different lines and things like that. And, you know, it's like the old movie Lawnmower Man. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but, like, it was this guy, it was like an old horror movie where this guy, like, gets sucked into a computer and becomes like this. It was like way back. It was like before
a B film, I'm assuming too. Probably.
Oh yeah, no, it was kind of big in the moment, but it's probably died out. It's like one of those old cheesy horror movies. But, like, the idea of it was this guy, like, his conscious and soul gets sucked into a computer, and then he basically becomes a serial killer. But he could travel through, you know, telephone lines and electrical lines and things like that.
He would have a field day today,
right? Oh yeah.
To kind of piggyback off of that, there was something came up, I think, like 10 years ago where this lady would get a phone call, or she would try to make a phone call every day, or I think it was the same time every week. But then she would get, like, a NORAD message.
Oh, wow.
Like, it was NORAD, like, reading off codes, and I'm pretty sure it was codes that would go to, like, the guy managing it to make sure, like, oh, I don't have to launch a nuke right now.
Right.
But it was terrifying because it was like those. It was like this weather report.
Yeah. Well, it's terrifying that might not be going to the place it needs to go.
Yeah, and that's what everybody was saying, because it was huge on Reddit, and everyone on Reddit was like, "Oh, we should probably find out who the fuck that's supposed to go to, because that's probably not getting to them."
Right. And there's still cases of interference and things, like, even in today's world. I don't know if you've ever had, like, if you put your cell phone next to a speaker sometimes, and your phone rings, you get that, like,
the amount of times playing a show, and like, I learned the hard way. Okay, my phone is not going to sit on top of my amp.
Yeah, airplane mode.
Yeah, well, I didn't even do that. I would just put it in my gig bag. Lana, legitimately, I would play shows live, and then, like, there'd be a quiet, and you hear, like, and it's like, you can tell it's your phone. I was like, oh shit,
it's like almost the same pattern as like your vibration or whatever it is. Yeah.
It's like back in the day when you used to get a text and you knew you were gonna get a text.
Yeah,
you used to
you could still get that now if you put your phone on an like your guitar amp, you would hear it through your cab.
Do you ever get phantom, like, rings and calls? Like, I'll sit here sometimes and just be like, oh man, my phone just buzzed.
That's an actual thing.
And, like, my when the buzzer's off, it's in airplane mode. It doesn't even have, like, the haptics on, but I'll still, like, I'll swear, like, it just vibrated.
Yeah, I remember reading about it. It's like a legitimate condition. Like, your brain is just so like, I need dopamine.
Right, like every so many minutes, it usually does it. So
yeah, we had that on The Hunt where Brian was like, I think he was holding this, and he was like, I thought it was my phone. I had it in my pocket and it vibrated. And so I kind of dismissed it as kind of like no, I think that's just that condition kicking in, and you have something that mimics your phone in that pocket.
It's just sad how addicted we all are.
Yeah. But so this next one asks, is it possible that electricity and frequencies are able to exist within multiple dimensions, and that we as humans exist in only one plane, and paranormal entities and cryptids exist within another one that's not visible to us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of that could be explanations of why, like, it's not necessarily us in this world here, but there's, like, different crossovers of different realities, things like that. And for some reason, that location, you know, whether it was, like, through portal opening, things like that, or whatever it was that causes a rift, and there's, like, a connection, and you can go in there and you can almost experience bits of another reality.
Outlook. It's okay. We'll edit that out. Yeah. It's Outlook. It's somebody's. Actually, I should probably get that notification here in a second. Well, yeah. Oh, it's a Google security alert. All right, shut this show down.
It's all the nuclear codes coming through.
Okay.
But so not to cut you off though. So we were talking about the the dimensions and
right.
how,
Yeah. And that was the thing. I don't know if we've talked about it before, but the Conjuring house was. I remember when we interviewed the one of the kids that lived at the house when it was the famous story going on, and she explained what her mother, because the mother was the one that had the most experiences, was that she got to a point where she realized that she's just living, that there's no time. Like she's there living, and the old family that used to live there is living there at the same time. So she would see them at the dinner table eating. But at first it was terrifying, and you go through all these experiences, like trying to think, am I crazy? But like she got to a point where she almost like accepted it and was like, there's just no division between our time and their time. And for some reason, she was able to experience that. And I remember when I was there, I was in the basement and I did a ritual to open a portal in the basement. And after that,
speaking of, that's fucking wild. Like he's like, what are we gonna do? I'm gonna open up a fucking portal
just for fun, just because it's Sunday.
And then so after that, I was like, I'm gonna go upstairs. So Zach and Billy were upstairs. There's 2 levels of the house, so the main floor and upstairs. They were investigating up there somewhere. Aaron and I were downstairs. So Aaron stayed in the basement. I went upstairs, and I walked around probably for like 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. I don't know. And I literally felt I was in another time period. Like once I came up the stairs, I didn't see Zach. I didn't see Billy anywhere in the house. I was yelling for him, calling for him, walking all around, and it was nothing. And then all of a sudden, I went in one room where our nerve center was. I feel like I didn't even see that our nerve center was there. Like it was like kind of that idea, like it was a different time period. And then I walked out, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like starting to kind of lose it a little bit. And then Zach walks in from the room I was just in, and he's like, what's going on? What are you doing? And I'm like, I was just calling for you for like the last 45 minutes.
I just had another family.
And like, I just like lived a whole other lifetime. And
oh my God. I don't even know how I would, like, if we're literally at the beginning of the episode talking about like comprehending this information. I would probably like go into a panic state for like a month and just be like, I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Yeah, it definitely, it stays with you for sure.
Yeah.
I still think about it. Like, I have no idea what that was. I've had lost time. That's another one that really messes with your head. We were at a place, it was called Adobe Los Coches, somewhere in California, and it's like an old abandoned house. And I walked in, this was, I guess, one of the earlier times, like, I don't know if we drew straws or whatever, but somehow I got picked to go in by myself.
As one does.
Yeah, and for some reason, I only had a GoPro, like a night vision GoPro on my chest, and that was it. I think Zach took my phone. I think he even took my walkie-talkie. Like, it was just like, you're going in completely blind and just with a chest-mounted camera. I had a digital recorder. And I walked through the house. I remember walking through the house, and I remember getting to a point, and I found a chair, and I was like, I'm going to sit here and just kind of feel it out. In my mind, maybe 10 minutes later, the guys are like busting through the door, like, what's going on? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. What are you talking about? Like, just sitting here. Turns out I watched the footage. I sit there for probably like a good part of an hour. And there's a part I start like twitching. I like drop down, like, and I literally, in my world, it was like 5 to 10 minutes. And I sat down, they came in. And then watching that footage of me like sitting there, like totally lost time, is another one of those, like, just,
I feel like
it messes with my head.
I didn't necessarily feel, but I felt like, I was like, when we started I was like, okay, we've been here like 3 hours now. It's getting close to wrap up. I'm like, it's only 11:40.
Yeah.
We still have till 2 a.m. Like, holy shit. Like,
right?
It was almost like a little like
a shroom trip?
No, like almost demoralizing. I was like, fuck, I'm already terrified. I got to be here for more.
It's just the begining, right?
Yeah, now I'm hearing like, oh yeah, you're going to twitch on the floor and you're not even going to remember.
Thing I just thought of too, in a new episode that just aired, we were filming, where were we at? We were in Salt Lake City in Antelope Island, which is an island right in the middle of Salt Lake.
I didn't even know there was an island in the middle.
Yeah, and it's completely, like, pretty much abandoned. It's like a nature preserve now, but there's an old farm settlement there and has lots of stories. And I spent the night by myself in the woods. And I had crazy interactions. I got scratched across my stomach. I lost my mind. Like, I saw things running up on me. It was just terrifying. But what terrified me the most, which I didn't even know until, like, this literally just aired last week, or I guess when this airs a couple weeks,
but whatever, we can talk about as we're recording
theoretically,
this,
yeah. But it just aired, and I didn't even see the footage. apparently at the very end, like I'm being affected. I'm out of it. I don't feel right. I'm just like, all right, like this has really drained me. This was a messed up night. Billy has the SLS or the XLS camera, and he turns it past me, and it shows my figure, but it's not able to map me. And it's almost like these entities are like pouring off of me. Like it's having trouble mapping me as a human. Like it was just, none of us has ever seen the XLS do anything like that. And seeing that and was like, all right, I knew what I felt. And then to be able to see that happening to me was still just another like, all right, I guess I'm not sleeping for a while.
God, yeah, I'm sure you got over this after a certain point, but like I went home that morning, which was still dark out, and I was like, I was kind of laying on my bed looking at my phone. I was just actually I wasn't even looking at my phone. I was trying to go to sleep, and like, I feel somebody watching me right now,
right?
And I think it was just my mind just like still being like,
right, on alert.
Yeah, and so, like it was hard to go to sleep that night. Yeah. But like that, I would 2 days later, I'd be like, I'm still.
Oh yeah, well it's tough too because we shoot every other week, so we're shooting and then we're basically home for 10 days, and then we go right back out again. There's not a whole lot of time to kind of like reset 100%, you know, and kind of there's not even time to kind of look back and be like, what was that? Let me like ponder on that and like, all right, well, time to go to the next one. And you know, it's kind of tough to, you know, process all of the experiences.
But maybe that makes it easier so you're not looming on something for too long and you're like, all right, True. I already got to go to this next one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's probably good in some ways. It's probably good for my therapist that I'll have to pay for many years to come. But.
Yeah, I wonder if I should go back to kind of get ahead of it. Right. Like as I'm starting to do these, because like I want to do these more. Like I'm almost thinking like maybe like once a month, just going out and just see like to see how little it takes to go out and do it.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, you know, I'm hypocritical where I say like do it. I get it. I love it, but at the same time, like 13 years in, like I've seen enough stuff where like I don't know, like I always wonder like if I knew what I would experience and what I would go through, like would I do it again? And honestly, I would.
And so would Outlook.
Like I totally would, you know, I would definitely do it again. But like maybe things differently, like so like it can be dangerous. Like I've lost friends that are literally not here anymore because of how deep they got into the paranormal world. Yeah. And so like, you know, there's levels of caution, you know, like anything. Like you can easily get carried away. You can have it overtake you. You can do that. But at the same time, I get it. I do it every other week, and I love it, and don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So.
Yeah, I don't think I would do it that often. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a little different when you have a child. Like I can't make that kind of a commitment to every other week doing it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I totally get that because I've seen people get lost, like with podcasting. Like I've seen people get so enveloped that like it crumbles because they don't give anything time to breathe. They don't give anything time to marinate.
Right.
Sort of say like the episode we did the last time. I'm still getting hits on it. Granted, it's from people who are in relationships with you and are madly in love with you.
Fans and stuff.
Yeah. But it's still like going, and I feel like if you just kind of breeze over that, you're not giving anything the time of day it needs.
Exactly, yeah.
But speaking of doing it for 13 years and seeing everything, Franny procured some videos for us to watch. So as a reminder, every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do this where we go and watch creepy videos. Nice. We'll have somebody on. We'll talk about it. We'll just kind of react to it. It's just more content for you guys.
And then after Wednesdays at 9, you can watch Ghost Adventures.
There you go. See? 9 Pacific?
Well, it's 9 Eastern, so it's still 9. I don't know. We're
weird. Competing.
It's like if you, I guess it would be 6 p.m. if you have DirecTV. If you
have like Cox,
I think Cox, it would still be 9 p.m.
Here.
But
so there you go.
DirecTV does East Coast timing.
So there you go. If you want a really just fucking terrifying night, just watch us at 6 p.m. Then instantly go into Ghost Adventures, which you guys are still pumping out episodes. You're on the what season are you guys on right now?
I think it's labeled 27 right now.
But for you, it's just a blur of all right, we're going to the next one. And somebody's like, in season 18, you're gonna have to be way more specific than that.
Like, and I feel bad because like I've been there and lived it, and like there's people that are like, oh, this one episode at this time mark, this happened. I'm like.
Yeah, sure, I believe you.
I was like, I don't even remember being there, honestly. Like,
am I actually talking to a guy from Ghost Adventures right now? Like, he doesn't even remember 90%.
Like, that's the best thing of IMDb. Like, I will always look up and be like, oh yeah, we did go there. This is where we went.
Someone's like, you went here. You're like, did I?
Yeah.
Did I actually go there?
I kind of remember that.
Marcus did that on the last episode.
He did that?
Marcus was like fangirling, and then
he busted out some facts.
Yeah, he busted out like legitimate facts.
He played it cool though. He was like, oh, so like blah blah blah, and I'll tell him. He's like, yeah, I know about that because that was this episode.
you can tell he was like reeling it in. Yeah, Marcus is tremendous. He's actually been on one of the live streams, and he we definitely had some substances right before that episode aired. Where we were like, but it's kind of like our tradition now. Like George and I kind of get into like we're gonna have fun with this. Let's kind of let's maybe get a little high and then watch it, and then we're like, that hits a little better. Like, okay, I was actually scared that time. So this first one says the Hampton Court Palace ghost. So one of the most famous modern ghost clips. To kind of preface, he wanted to find like some of the most famous clips and show them to you, and you can either you've seen them,
right,
or it's you, or you can be like, no, I know what that is. Sure, one of the most famous modern ghost clips. It is speculated to be a spectral form of one of Henry VII's many wives. What is your take on this clip? Notice how there is no typical ghostly translucency to this. Is this possibly real footage of a spirit or an elaborate hoax? So, if Lana, if we want to roll that first one.
Yes, it is.
You can see like a dress.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, you could see there's some kind of person of some source opening the doors. I mean, I would say if it is...
That was my mom in the morning.
Like, I would say if, like, that is, like, legit, like, it's pretty amazing and incredible, evidence. It's always tough, like, watching anybody's evidence, I always find it tough, because, like, if you're not there, it's naturally a skeptic.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, like, when you do have an experience, like, is that the only camera angle? Is there a security camera inside that was looking towards the door? Things like that would be how I would try to debunk it or kind of like look more into it. Like, is there anything else, like looking at it just as that, like, holy shit, like that's amazing, but then like, all right, like, can we see any other angles? Like try to figure it out. The one thing that throws me off is the frame rate.
Yeah, well, because it said it was a CCTV.
Right. So like
footage.
It's definitely like a slower frame rate, and that's why it's like so like jittery. Yeah. And to me, like that's tough because you can get weird motion blurs that can kind of like calls you to see things, and and also if there was just a person that did that and then like walked away real quick, it would probably pick up pieces of their movement and it would look like this blurry, ghosty figure. So it's tough to say without being there, but I mean, as it is, if that was legit, that's pretty cool.
The EMF detector is calling you a liar. It started going up.
Sorry, all right. If it's you,
it started going up when you were talking about that. Okay, so this next one says, this is a compilation of poltergeist activity in this person's home. There are many accounts of poltergeist activity occurring to families, especially when they are young children entering puberty within the household. Is it possible that there is a sort of energy shift when this occurs that lets these children tap into a higher consciousness? Or is it entities that can sense this high energy change? What are your thoughts? So we'll run the second one.
Okay.
40 scariest minutes of my life caught on camera.
It got dark. I don't know if there was a light flicker.
Yeah.
Oh,
something going by.
Oh, hell no.
I think that's a mirror right next to the door, right?
Could be. It looks like some. That's the growling, I guess. See,
okay, I instantly heard you start perking up. Like, what are you reading off of that?
It's too good.
Too much happening at once.
Too much. Like I've been doing it for so long and seen enough. Like it's never that like.
Not to say it couldn't never
not
be
saying
that.
It couldn't. Like, and like obviously like I'm not there, so who knows? But like first looking, I was like, if they were like they did, it was too much. Like like the door, like everything shaking. Like it was almost like it felt very planned and felt very scripted. It felt very, like it's like do everything we can in one video. And, like, and if that was happening, we would see that like everybody would be like, holy shit, this stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like we would have more of that happening, but it doesn't usually happen.
It's always just the one and done.
It's much more subtler than that usually.
Yeah, I would, and you're definitely the expert on this, but just based on what I experienced, like, it was never, okay, I saw a full body, because I did see, I don't even think I told you, I saw a full body apparition,
nice.
and I saw it as clear as I'm seeing you, a face.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Where there was nobody else there. But it was just that, I didn't hear anything, but then it disappeared, and then I would feel cold, and then, like, something grabbed my arm.
Right.
But it was never, the only time we ever got something to sync was the EMF spiking when we got a voice, but.
Yeah, and, like, in that video, like, I've experienced almost each of those things individually, but like to have it all like one after another, like, I don't know, I would,
like,
I would be very suspect. Yeah. Exactly.
Jay's ruining everybody's day here. Okay, so this next one says, the next two videos come to us from Japan. Many tragedies have struck Japan, from nuclear destruction to tsunamis and warfare that left thousands dead. Do you think that Japan's history causes all of these hauntings to be more of the residual type or the intelligent type? For people who may not know, a residual haunting is an event from the past playing over and over, like this. Like a loop with sometimes no rhyme or reason. An intelligent haunting is zero rhyme or reason and often includes poltergeist-like activity. So I'm wondering if that could be like with the Conjuring house, where you're seeing them at dinner. It's just they're kind of but it
like
seems like but it was almost like both though, right?
Yeah, I feel like there is the idea of like it is just a loop of energy, but also that you're looking into, because what is time? Like, it's not a linear thing. It's, literally we made up time to just create order. So like it could be like what everything that has happened, is happening, and will happening is all happening at the same time, but it's our perspective that allows us to experience it. And for some reason, there's little crossovers in that experience.
It's just like so much energy or so much information to digest. It's like always, every time Jay's here, I'm like, okay, I got to like really pay attention. So the first video of these two says a wailing ghost gets boiling water thrown at it and it has a very clear auditory response. This one's crazy. I've seen this one before. Lana, if we want to play that one. So they're wailing outside right now.
Okay, so that's the ghost is wailing.
He grabs boiling water. You can see the steam. That's kind of hilarious, though. Like, to think of like, have you guys ever tried that? Like, something's
like
going on.
Throwing it on it. I mean, I've thrown stuff at ghosts for sure.
I'm assuming with no real results.
No,
probably opposite, right?
I chucked a spirit box once at some kind of entity that was running at me, and it just went past it and smashed on the wall.
Oh hell no!
So with that though, what's going through your head with that one?
I mean, it's kind of almost similar to that. Like the voice is too. Like I've heard so many EVPs and ghost voices where that's like the frequency range of it, where it is up front, like it sounds more human than paranormal. I mean, either way, they should probably move because it's either a ghost or they have some kind of like
I don't know. I feel like that's the energy you need to get rid of that stuff.
Alley.
I feel like just dousing something in hot water, that might also be a hate crime.
Yeah,
if we think about it.
Yeah, they definitely should talk to a lawyer if it was a real person.
Okay, so this last video says, a Japanese taxi driver escorts a ghostly woman to a destination and engages in conversation only to find that no real person ever entered his car. I think we did this, Lana. I think we saw this when you were co-hosting the live streams with us. So we'll play this one.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, so he is driving a taxi cab.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls over, lets a woman in. I don't think he's picked up the person yet.
No, it's right there. She's forming. She forms in the back seat.
Oh, she just formed.
No, because if I remember correctly, they opened the door.
Gotcha.
And that's why he's having a normal conversation with them.
Right, like he thought it was someone he picked up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think whatever was in the back's gone now.
Yeah. Oh, there it is again.
Oh, and it reappears. Huh.
It looked like a Vienna sausage.
PS1 graphics.
Right.
Crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't want to see that in my rearview mirror.
Yeah. Okay, we've identified it has 2 eyes.
Yeah.
And a nose.
I mean, you see the facial features and everything. And like, is that like a cut?
I think so.
Is that what? Huh.
Perfect. All right, Lana, you can mute that track on the mixer so we don't get any spirits from
Got
Outlook.
him. From Outlook.
But with that one, so with kind of how that, like that seems, and you can probably add some truth to this, but I feel like it takes a lot of energy for spirits to
100%.
So I feel like that takes a fuck ton of energy.
Yeah,
like that's.
And it's one of those same things where it's almost too good.
Right.
Where like I said, I'm not there. I can't totally dismiss it. One, it's almost too good. Two, the video quality is terrible. Like,
right. It's like
it's like all the alien videos. Like, oh my god, we finally caught an alien, and it's like all pixelated, and you're like, that right there. Like, it's just it's tough to tell.
Reaching
it's tough
for
to
straws.
know, and that's why I think it's important. Like one of the things we always strive for is, like you said, like multiple devices, high quality, to be able to present things is, for credibility wise.
Yeah, and I feel like you can kind of catch, I don't want to call them fakers, but you can kind of catch the BS a little easier because, like, I have an iPhone. That thing records in 4K.
Right.
Like, you can very clearly record things.
Absolutely.
So, that was crazy, though. I'm glad I never thought I'd check off. I think I told you, and I've said it on the show, but when I was talking to you about getting ready for this ghost hunt, and by the way, just in case anybody's listening, Jay didn't like pay for anything. He didn't do anything with it. I just asked him for advice. But like, it was a very pinch me moment where I'm like thinking like, little me is watching the shows on my TV when I was supposed to be going to bed for school. And now I have my own show doing the same thing, but I'm getting help from those people. I'm like, holy crap. So doing that was like kind of a surreal moment.
Cool. And like I said too, like I like being able to help and especially with like how I said, either like, if you can just not do it, great. Like don't do it. Like almost like it's dangerous. It could be terrible. It can ruin a lot of things, but I know you're going to do it. It's like telling a kid like, oh, don't go sneak a beer. Like they're going to go sneak a beer. Like,
that's,
you know what I mean?
Not to get political, cause that's not what this show is, but like a lot of the times, like these books getting banned, I'm like,
it's just going to make people want to read it more.
Yeah. Like, totally. Granted, should I have had access to the internet that I did?
Right.
No, but now we have this show, so I think it worked out well. But like they're gonna like, what are you gonna do when like your child is like 20 and they're like, "What's sex?" and you're like, "What the?"
Like what? That doesn't. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's not how kids are made.
You were made in a lab.
Some people are. They're petri dishes. Right, I think I was.
But just to top that off is like with that, I've done what I've done and experienced what I do, and I feel like I'm at a point where it's like I'm deep enough where like I'm just gonna keep going because, I've already gotten my boots messed up, so it's like I'm gonna keep walking through the mud, and if I can like talk to people that are like wanting to do it, and like you're gonna do it whether you ask me for tips or not, so like I might as well give you some tips that might help you out and might make it easier for you and
might save your life.
Exactly, totally.
Yeah, it was almost like as soon as we met Steven from the Pioneer, who's now the owner. I think he acquired it in 2020. As soon as I met him and was producing his show, and then Brian, who I need to introduce you to Brian because you guys would hit it off.
Totally.
But it was like almost instantaneous. Brian's like, we got to go ghost hunt at the Pioneer. I was like, okay, like still like nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's what I want this show to be. I started teasing it on the show during the lives, and everyone was like, yeah, please, can you do that? And I was like, oh, for real? People want this? Yeah. And then now I did it. I was like, I could do that again.
Right.
Like, it wasn't that bad. Like, I was terrified. Yeah, of course. But, like, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I mean, I've done, I don't even know how many hundreds and hundreds of investigations. And there's still, like, every time there's still a level of nervousness. There's almost like the hour before I have to leave, like I'm ready to go, but I'll just sit in my hotel room and I'm kind of like, all right, like, all right, here we go. Like, and there's still always that moment of just kind of like, what's going to happen, And there's times where like we're investing in a place where like, oh, this is all, unicorns and puppy dogs. Like there's nothing crazy scary here, but then you go in and it goes off the wall, so you never really know.
Yeah, it's a surreal feeling. But so I did what I did last time, and I went to the Ghost Adventures subreddit. Mm-hmm. Everybody was super excited about the last time I invited them, and I think it's nice to be able to have a platform where we can allow the audience. I mean, it's not hard to get a hold of you anyways. Like, it's not like you're like, nobody talk to me.
Yeah, I'm not hidden in a hole somewhere, but
yeah, you're you're right here right now. So so I went to Reddit and I pulled some questions. I let people know you were coming on again, and I said, what should I ask them? And I linked the previous episode. I said, so we don't get any crossover. I think we have a couple here, but it should be fine. So the first question comes from Hot Heat 5042, and they ask, are there any places you'd personally never want to step foot in again?
No, I don't think so. Like, there's probably stuff I shouldn't.
Right. Like maybe the Conjuring House again?
Right, the Conjuring House, or like even like Goatman's Bridge, like places that have like such a dark, experience. There's part of me that's like, oh, I don't want to do that. But then the scientific part of me is like, no, like do it twice. See what happens the second time.
Because then you can cross it.
Right, that's the ultimate scientific test, is like if it can be repeated. And that's the thing, that's why a lot of like mainstream science doesn't appreciate the paranormal, because it's hard to repeat things on demand.
Right.
And like for them to believe it and accept it, like it has to be repeatable, like, so going to the locations multiple times, and it's great when we do, like Goldfield, we've been there many times. Every time we go there, we capture things levitating, we capture things moving by themselves. And, so to me, it's like, all right, this is showing repetitive behaviors. So like, hopefully the scientific community can eventually see that and be like, oh, okay, it's, there's something there. There's a little more credibility to it.
Moving on to the next one. These are, like I said, these are always like so dense that it's hard to like.
Oh yeah.
I can't even imagine Lana. Like, I know sometimes like I'll get like, she's not even registered.
I'm paying attention. No, believe me, I'm over here scared. I was like, you go to the Goldsfield Hotel every time and you see something levitate, bitch. No. I'll sit back and edit your shit.
Yeah, she can.
What's that behind you?
Fuck you.
We should put the EMF behind her and let it go. Okay, so this next one comes from fearless_bell1703, asks, what was the life-changing moment that made you believe in ghosts outside of Ghost Adventures, and what moment since then has been the most ground-shaking proof, evidence-wise, on that belief?
Man, I don't know. It goes way back. I mean, even as a kid, I remember probably some of my earliest experiences was I was a weird kid. I liked to go play in the woods of New Jersey. I grew up near the Pine Barrens, so like the Jersey Devil was a big part of my upbringing, and there was a lot of lore, stuff like that. So like I remember being out the woods as a kid and just kind of playing around, and I remember my friend and I, we were out there and we saw some kind of like, it was like a cryptoid, really, like not massive, but it was some kind of creature that was able to stand up, and it was just like coming at us, and like it was suburbia, but we had patches of woods, so it wasn't like wild, like there was no way it was like some crazy wild animal. And I just remember this like thing chasing us, and we both ran, and then kind of looked back, and like it just like dissolved and went away. And that was one of the earliest experiences. That was probably like middle school, maybe somewhere around there. And I remember that, and then from there, like I just kept diving into more and like wanted to know more, and like try to figure out the unknown, and probably dived too much into it, and lots of Ouija boards. I don't know. I think we might have talked about my Ouija board experience when I almost got stabbed in the throat when my friend got possessed when I was a teenager and tried to stab me after a Ouija board. The entity basically came through the Ouija board and possessed him, and he tried to stab me in the throat. And
you guys still friends?
No, actually. I mean, honestly, that was the last moment. I think I saw him. Man, it's kind of terrible thinking about now, but like a couple weeks after that, he came over and he said to me, he's like, man, I feel like something's been like following me, and like something's like really messing with me. And he was kind of like starting to lose it. And at that time, I was like, oh, that sucks. I don't know.
Oh, wow, crazy.
And then I don't think I ever saw him after that.
Man.
So I don't know. Hopefully, if he's out there, I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, let's hope. So this next one's from Subatai_super_shorty asks,
where did they come up with these names?
I don't know. Well, I think it's because like Reddit gives them to you.
Oh, okay.
So like my account's like emergency move.
Oh, okay.
And then like a bunch of numbers.
Yeah,
and
I don't
like,
even have a Reddit, so I don't know.
it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Don't go on there. This question is, how many shoots don't end up on TV for lack of evidence? I think we asked this before, but I think you kind of...
Yeah, we show every investigation we've done. There was the one in Seattle where we went and absolutely nothing happened paranormal-wise. But we still showed it because it's still the experience. It's still us trying. It's still, us actively investigating. And
I feel like that adds validity, though, where you're you're not going to get something every time.
Exactly. And, we presented it like we didn't want to say it wasn't haunted. We didn't say they were faking it. Like, I have my own personal belief. I'm leaning towards, one or the other. But, like, we were like, hey, when we were here, nothing happened. And, we left it at that. And I think they were not happy after that. But what are you going to do?
So according to you, no episode has ever been filmed and then not released because of lack of evidence. Now,
Yeah.
I'm sure there may be like the...
no, I think everything... I think there was one time where like some paperwork type...
It was like a network thing. It wasn't an evidence
Well,
thing.
not even that it was all shot. Like we were just like getting ready to start doing it and then it fell through or whatever. Like that happens sometimes. Like location schedules change and then it's like, oh, we got to go somewhere else instead.
Now, I'm assuming, like, for me, I have to actually go through the proper... But I feel like for you guys, it's probably not that hard to get... I mean, I'm assuming there's probably still some steps, but, like, people are probably more willing to open their doors to let you guys in.
Yes and no. I mean, a lot of places don't want to be known as a paranormal place. Like,
they kind of just like... Business.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we're trying to run our business as it is. We don't want that, that label of being a known haunted place. So some places are totally against it, where others embrace it, and they're just like, yeah, come on in.
Like the Pioneer, for example.
Yeah.
Like they actually, I think this month they have a Spirits with Spirits
Nice.
thing where and I'm like, that's genius. That's tremendous. But
the way I look at it, it's like you should embrace it. Like, why not? Like, even if it's like, I get it. Like people are like, some people are weird about the paranormal, but like, it's still history too. Like, even if you're not embracing the paranormal side, it's okay to embrace the history. That's like one of the things Vegas that I love Vegas, but the part I don't like about it is how like everything just gets torn down and built new. Like, anything older than like 20 years, they're like, all right, let's get rid of that and build something flashy, brand new. Like, there's something about, saving the history and embracing that history and like, learning the history. And that's kind of what the paranormal is. It's you're connecting to that history.
Yeah, I mean, I want to like, and the thing with the Strip is like, they are not going to let you go in there and do that. But like the Bally's,
oh yeah, Bally's
definitely
would be great.
has to be because that was where the MGM was.
Right.
Like, has to be. I know where the Riviera was. I know you said you got to go in there when there was nothing.
We investigated the Riviera. Yeah, we did that twice. Once when it was still operation and then once when it was shut down, which was surreal just to see a casino floor empty and quiet was kind of
that's got to be actually kind of terrifying,
weird.
Right?
Yeah, it was like so quiet and you're like, man, just you can almost see everything that was going on there and it was wild to see it. And we investigated Binion's down on Fremont, which that was a pretty cool one because what people don't know, the casino's still there, but the whole tower is pretty much abandoned.
Oh, I didn't know. I used to work. I worked for 2K, the video game company.
Okay, yeah.
I know they actually just moved, but if you're, that downtown event concert center. Yeah. So if you look at it, to the left is that tall white building. 2K and a couple of other game studio QA centers were in there.
That's cool.
So I worked downtown for 3 years, and there you could just feel there's an energy just there all the time.
Just that whole general Fremont-esque downtown area.
Have you been to the Jackie Gone suite at the El Cortez?
No,
it's
I haven't.
The top floor. So I went there not for paranormal. Actually,
right.
There's a guy, a big Vegas YouTuber, and he hired me to film a video. And I was up there, and I was like, it looks like it's straight out of the '80s, but you're like, cool. This feels fucking weird. Right, yeah. Like, I couldn't put now I can kind of put my finger on it. But at the time,
something there, especially the Cortez. Like that's one of the oldest hotels still in existence, I think, in Vegas at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so that like that, there you go. There was my first creepy videography gig. Was like, nice. I don't know what's going on here, and I didn't really. I mean, I had the show, but I wasn't that tuned in. This next question comes from Luna Giraffe 7, and they ask, where do you learn about the different rituals and spiritual things you do on the show?
I read a lot of books. I guess the internet too. Like you can find stuff. It's very kind of hidden and buried now, and like. I've seen it, like, I remember when the internet first came out, not to like date myself, but I remember that then. And then like to now, like there's so much information, but it's also very funneled. Like it's like, I feel like there's only a few things you can like kind of get to really, as you know, compared to what you used to be able to. So I remember back in the day, like I felt like there was so much more access to like seeing just weird and unknown things.
Rotten.com
and yeah, like stuff like that. And so just that, a lot of books, you know, I have like a pretty extensive collection. I have some like old books that are like, I have some from like the 1800s that are like old ritual magic books that were printed in the 1800s, which you can't find those anymore. Like stuff like from different societies, different organizations, things like that. And then I kind of take from different ones and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. This kind of, this vibes with me. I get that, this makes sense to the location where we're at, things like that. And I'll kind of pick and choose what might work best for the location that we're at.
Not to piggyback off the internet thing, but like lately we've been on like a gore video kick where like somebody on TikTok will talk about it and then I'll go to the guest, like, you want to see it? And I'll show them, like, the cameras can't see it, but we can see it.
Yeah.
But like, I don't remember it being this hard to find those videos.
Oh yeah. I remember I used to rent at a video store, Faces of Death. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
It was just a VHS tape and it was like just clips of just gruesome, terrible things.
But I feel like I watched the first one. I don't think I saw the second one of the later ones, but I remember watching the first one and like, I don't know how much of it is actually real.
Right. Yeah. I feel now like, I mean, honestly, I was probably like, it's terrible to say. I was probably a kid when I first saw those.
Oh yeah, no. 100%.
So to me, it was like now, but like probably looking at it now, I'd probably like, yeah, that might be a little.
You remember Live Leak, right?
Live Leak. It sounds. I never.
So
really
that was like
much,
where
I remember hearing.
So
about
George and I were. Lana excluded, like Travis, Chase, George, and myself. We all graduated the same year. We're all around the same age. I've known George since 6th grade. Nice. In middle school, we used to watch Live Leak, and it would be like before school started. You're like, oh, you want to watch this dude get his head cut off with a chainsaw by the cartel? Yeah, okay. And then you kind of just feel weird all that whole day. You're like,
I don't feel right.
But that used to be so like I remember it being shared on like Facebook sometimes back in the day.
It's like every time I watch Antichrist.
What is that?
The Lars von Trier film. It's a movie.
Oh no.
Oh man, it's great. It's terribly great.
Terribly great.
He's like, I don't recommend you watch it, but it's tremendous.
No, definitely watch it. It sticks with you for sure.
Is it like a snuff film almost, or
no? It's William Dafoe's in it.
Oh, okay.
Charlotte Gainsbourg. It's just one in the acting, the cinematography is phenomenal. Lars von Trier is an incredible director, but he's known as very intense, very like he doesn't hide anything. Like there's nothing like like all violence, like it happens, you see it. Like a lot of stuff now, especially today's horror, like. Be like, oh, there's about to be a killing, and we pan away, and then maybe a little blood splatter or something. But like you're in it with him, and it's one of those movies. I remember when I watched it, I was like, I feel dirty for like like a month.
There's one that I still get like I still feel weird about, and it was like a French film. You may have heard of it, but it's like played in like reverse almost.
Huh.
But there's like a sexual assault scene. In like this, it's in Paris, so it's
Irreversible.
Maybe
the Gaspar Noé.
I don't. But it looks like it's shot. Oh, it looks like older or shot on like lower grade.
Yeah.
But like, there's like a sexual assault scene with like a pimp and this girl.
Yeah, and it's like in like a tunnel.
Yeah. Okay. So it's but it's like 10 minutes, and, and they don't.
It's all one shot. And
you're like, oh god.
And like all the camera moves are like they're always like spinning. And that's Irreversible. By Gaspar Noé. Yeah, that thing. His movies are.
The same way?
Too. Yeah, super intense.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like...
His are a little more like... His are tougher to watch because it's almost like, all right, like I'm starting to get nauseous watching the spins, but like...
On top of the gruesome content?
Right. Wow. but still like amazing films. Like Irreversible, I Stand Alone was a good one that he did.
Have you guys seen the movie called The Siberian Film?
Oh, you're talking about... Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The one where the guy like rapes the baby.
Yeah, it's like a straight up snuff film.
Yeah,
it's the Siberian, or no, not Siberian. It's the Serbian
film. There you go. Yeah,
like I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Bro, like literally just look at the trailer alone is like pretty disturbing.
Yeah.
But they have a scene where it opens with it's illegal to watch out here. That's how like gruesome it is. But in the beginning shot he's like
going at it with
graping.
a baby?
We'll say graping for YouTube. Graping a baby, and then it gets so far deep that he ends up doing it to his own son, and he doesn't know because
it's just ingrained.
It's a fucked up film, bro. Like if I actually explain it to you, it's so good.
It's so dark. But
it's super dark.
See, but that's stuff I'd watch though, because like, and I feel like I've desensitized, which is probably not good at all. But I feel like I've desensitized.
Like all those, like a lot of like Lars von Trier, Gaspar Noé, like all these other directors. There was a movement in the '90s. It was called like Dogma '93 or '95, I forget. It's like the year it was kind of happening, and basically these horror directors got together and made a set of rules, like almost like it's always handheld. Like they set these rules of how to like a style of making a
like
film.
a gentleman's agreement kind of. We're gonna do this with our films.
For like a few years, they all like made these like really intense, and it's kind of almost like it's all on like there's nothing like added later. Like it's all like whatever you have in the moment to use, and it's just it's a really like it's a rabbit hole you could always go down, and for a cinephile to like.
Yeah.
To explore. It's pretty wild stuff.
Have you seen Martyrs?
Oh, yeah. Martyrs is great. The original French one, though. The remake.
Oh, there's a remake?
Yeah, they did an American version.
Oh, I've only seen the French version.
Okay.
I think it's the French version. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where like in the house, like in the
I love it because it starts off, you're like, all right, this is like a torture film. Oh, wait, no, it's a home invasion film. Oh, wait, no, it's a paranormal.
But now it's back to a torture
monster film, and then it's a torture. Yeah.
And then it ends, and you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? Like, they didn't even answer their own questions in the movie. Yeah. That's a good one too, Lana.
Yeah,
Martyrs.
Martyrs is great.
So basically, the general plot is like there's a group that's trying to figure out what happened. Like they basically get people, mostly women, as close to death as possible to see if like they can talk to God.
It's like the idea of like you can gain enlightenment through extreme torture, and like when you're on that cusp of death is when you can truly gain enlightenment.
What?
So they like send people to that point. And like basically no one survives, but then finally someone kind of does, and
and then the lady at the end is like
DMT.
Well, it's France; they don't have that there. Okay, so Man of War 274 asks, who would you like most to join you guys as an investigator for an episode?
Oh man, I don't know.
Britney Spears.
I don't know.
Maybe not now.
You guys have had Post, right?
Yeah, we had Post Malone on. We've had a lot of different guests over the years, but I
was trying to remember. There was one I think I saw, and I was like, "What? They went with you?"
Right.
I think it was a comedian.
Brendan Schwab.
No.
Came out. We had Jeff Ross, the comedian.
Nice.
We investigated the Comedy Store.
Yeah, because I've heard there's a lot of stuff there.
That was cool because I called him up because I shot his Comedy Central special like before Ghost Adventures. And
okay.
I was like, we're at the Comedy Store. Like, if you have any stories, like, come on out. And he came out and he did like a roast for us. And then while he's on stage in the main room, he's roasting us, and he starts talking about one of the comics that died there, and all the lights on the stage just start flickering.
Nice.
And he's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, how'd you do that?
Yeah, he's
you're
like,
doing it. And we're like, no, like we're all sitting here, like we're not doing that. And
because I think like Kinnison is said to be there or something, and then a couple of others.
Yeah, there was a weird story. I forget how it went exactly, but there was a story about Kinnison like levitated one night or something.
What?
Like
that's just him though. Like he just has that energy.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. There's probably no one I could think of, like just off the top of my head. I mean, I'm always open to people. It's kind of fun to bring people in, but at the same time, like there is just something special when the four of us get together, and like sometimes it like as much as it's fun to have guests, it kind of like can also take away at times. So like like there's just something, I don't know, there's just something about what we do and our energies together that we get what we get. And
tremendous. Okay, so it's kind of you're open to anybody, but at the moment you're kind of like what we said earlier, like or I told you beforehand, when we had more people in the Pioneer with us, it felt like the energy died.
Right.
It felt like almost like we were taking away from it.
And sometimes with like the guests, like especially if like they don't know what they're doing, like like you kind of have to like, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to say it's more work, but it's kind of like there's more downtime where it's like, all right, like this is what we're going to do. This is like how it works.
It's
like,
more hand holding.
Right. Where it's nice just to be able to like, all right, we're going in and we just do our thing.
Yeah, I saw the I watched it, I think it was on YouTube, so maybe I just got somebody in trouble. But when you guys it was the Haunted Museum, but when like he was like, I just had people quit. We're going to figure out what this is. But it was like almost like you guys got there and bam, straight into it. And I was like, I guess that, like when you've done it for so long, you probably just are already all thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean, honestly, it's thinking on the fly. Like Zach's great at coming up with ideas like on the fly, like even with the interviews, things like that. Like we'll show up like with literally just like, all right, we're interviewing these 5 people. That's all we got. And we show up and then like he's instantly like he just starts pacing around, looking around, like, all right, let's do this here. We'll start here. Then we go over there and we just do it all on the fly.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way because everybody was like, all right, what are we doing? I was like, oh shit, yeah, I'm supposed to be leading this.
Right, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's start at the poker table. And then it just kind of led it. But I kind of paced it though too. I even said, I was like, we're in their space.
Right.
I don't want to feel like we're kicking. And we had the bartender told us, he's like, yeah, we had people that said, this place ain't haunted. You guys are full of shit because something would touch the REM pod and then they would start searching for it.
Oh, right.
And so I would just kind of let it come to us.
Yeah.
And when we did that, it worked tremendously.
Yeah. Sometimes the best thing is just to sit and wait and kind of see what happens.
Yeah. So this is the last question from Reddit. It's I think this is Simica Wizard. Do you see yourselves moving on to other areas outside of the Western United States soon? Maybe a bit north or even possibly southward?
Yeah. I mean, we're always talking about it. We've just been talking recently about trying to, figure out investigations and places to go. It's just we live in Vegas. Like, this is our home. This is where we live. And honestly, like, there's always, like, probably since the original documentary and things like that, we all have this draw to Wild West towns. There's something about the Southwest that's like that's our, I don't know, that's our heart, I guess, in it. And like, there's just something about this area specifically that like always calls to us. So we tend to go here more often. There's nothing wrong with the East Coast. I'm originally from the East Coast. I love it. And I'm sure like we will get back there eventually. Yeah,
I feel like this is my personal opinion. You can probably confer with this a little bit, but like, I feel like there's way more activity because that's where like the country started.
Yeah, there's definitely age for sure. There's the older age, but there's something about like I mentioned the Wild West again. Like there's just that energy of the Wild West. It was so lawless and like there's just so much fucked up shit that happened that like I don't know. It's just every time we do these old mining towns, things like that, it's just like it's the best. I don't know.
Jay, I want to say thank you again for coming on. I'm very fortunate to know you and to kind of have, I guess this kind of relationship we have going. But what is Ghost Adventures currently doing? What do you guys have going on right now?
We have new episodes every Wednesday night on Discovery Channel. I think it probably ends soon. Like, I think November 8th is our last episode of this season, or this will probably be like a mid-season break, and then whenever it comes on later on. But yeah, we're still on every Wednesday night. New episodes of The Haunted Museum Season 2 is coming out. There's episodes of Screaming Room that have been airing. I don't know the exact schedule of it, but I think they're on at 11 every night after. So we air our shows on Wednesday at 9, and then Screaming Room comes on at 11. So there's that. Yeah, we're still filming away.
So what do you have? What does Jay Wasley have on the horizon?
I mean, always still more Ghost Adventures. I've also my studio, so I'm doing music.
Your detector's going off hella hard.
Oh shit!
Oh, it is. It's blinking. Oh, it just went. It went orange.
No, yours is hard.
Yeah. It went orange.
That's what I got going on.
That's what you got going on. It's just this, just regularly.
Right? Yeah.
Your studio's tremendous. I got to see it the other day, and I did have to change my pants after going into the music room. I was like, oh my god! Like, I just saw like my retirement fund.
Yeah, we'll jam sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now I gotta bust to kind of preface. So, I produced Kevin Jonas Sr.'s show.
Okay.
And he like came in and he was like, play something for me. And I was like, oh shit, what?
Right.
Oh my god! Like that was I've played in front of huge crowds.
I
played
on a spot like that is
by the dad of the Jonas Brothers. You're like, what the fuck? Holy shit!
Right.
Okay, and I think I played him like some jazz riff. He's like, that's pretty cool. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get some sun real quick. Like,
right.
But that's even, man, to go in there with all that equipment and be like, all right, don't screw this up now.
There's nothing to screw up. It's
just like ghost hunting. It's just a vibe.
Yeah, you just lose some time and have fun.
Yeah. So thank you once again. I'm very fortunate that you've been on twice now.
Thanks.
I'm super excited to see, and it comes out today, so I'm very excited to see how you react to
look forward to seeing
the ghost hunt, and kind of like I made the joke on the show. We did a pre-hunt show, and I was like, these ghosts are gonna be like, who the fuck are these amateurs? We've had Ghost Adventures in here. What are these kids doing? But I feel the owner told us we came in, and he was like, this is the most professional thing I've seen, and he's he's only been in since 2020, but to be fair, we kind of took some guidance and took some notes on what to do. So appreciate you
guidance
as always.
From a champ, bro. So you was looking real professional.
Yeah. Yeah, and also we kind of had good equipment to start with. Like, I mean, like the camera up here is.
Yeah, you're doing it right. So
So thank you again. Thank you so much to everybody listening.